So, if you've been here before, then you know that I've been talking and thinking quite a bit about romantic interests and how male leads are presented to readers. How is sympathy built and retained and sustained, and how does it evolve across books? And why is it that some of the most beloved male characters are often the most toxic ones? And that is how this series was born. Bad News Lovers, men whom you love but who are oh so problematic once you turn your brain on. There are going to be 10 videos in this series, and I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, 10 being the worst and 1 being the worstest. As you can see, I have a little ranking system here, and the top 3 are left blank, not because I don't know who's going to be in there. I do know, obviously, but I need to create a little drama because I have none in my life right now. And actually, if any of you would be interested in doing a video yourselves, or you can always comment, of course. I'm always happy to hear what you have to say. But if you have a channel, or if you write about books in another place, whether it's Twitter or on your blog or whatever, drop me a link because I'd like to really know what you think as well. And if you have a list, that's amazing. So it's not like an official tag or anything, it's just me. Okay, so the first person that I'd like to talk about, our number 10, is Severus Snape. Now, first of all, the man is named Severus Snape. All of you who find that romantic need Jesus. Imagine that guy on top of you. Oh, Severus. I can't even keep a straight face. And secondly, not to be shallow, but even in the books, he's basically a corpse prince. He has lanky, greasy hair, skin so pale it's basically translucent, and he's just incredibly morose all the time. Can you imagine what he would be like as a boyfriend? But okay, I'm shallow. Let's put my preferences aside. Let's talk about Snape. Now, a lot of the sympathy that Snape gets is from the fact that he loved Lily. Aw, Lily, his one true friend, the one that he called Mudblood. I think it has to do with the readership being really young, and I think as the readership ages up and as they grow a little older, hopefully they understand that being in love with somebody or loving somebody is not a get out of jail free card. You don't get to belittle people and to call people racist, bigoted names just because you love them. And they are not obliged to forgive you for your trespasses just because you love them. If you love somebody, it comes with respect, it comes with boundaries. I know that's hard for a lot of people to understand. God knows in my culture, we are constantly having all these discussions about what is and what isn't kosher. And it can sometimes sound a bit killjoy, but I don't care. I'm not here for women not getting what they deserve. And what they deserve at the very least is respect. The same as men. But also, he pushes Lily away. Lily is not the one who abandons him. If he had gone up to Lily and apologized for calling her a mudblood and hadn't decided that he was just going to stew in how much he hated Harry's dad, he might have been able to not just repair his relationship with Lily, who sounds like a wonderful person, by the way, but might have become a better person himself. But he chose not to grow. So a lot of the bad things that happened to Snape, and pretty much his entire life, is a bad thing. But those are things that he chose for himself. There are plenty of people with unattractive personalities who have close friends and family, or friends who are like family. Snape chooses not to have any of those things. Another thing that he chooses to be is a Death Eater. It's a very active choice, and he is in it to the gills. In fact, he's the one who overhears Dumbledore and tells Voldemort about Harry and the prophecy. And then once he realizes that Lily's in danger, he's not trying to save Lily and her family, he's only trying to save Lily. who he has been creepily obsessed with for years. I don't know if it's because I have had creepy obsessive stalkers in my own life, but I don't find any of that charming. And you can also tell that he is generally a terrible human being because he does that classic racist thing where, he calls Lily a racist term and he's sorry, not because he said it. He thinks that's true, as we see from his subsequent actions where, he joins the Dark Lord basically. But he is sorry because she's no longer his friend. It's a very, I'm sorry your feelings were hurt kind of thing. But also later on, after he leaves the Death Eaters and he is sort of reintegrating into society, he insists on being alone and friendless. At any moment, he could have talked about how he had an epiphany, about how he decided that Voldemort was wrong. He could have talked about all of that, but actually he can't, first of all, because his ideologies haven't really changed. It's his personal circumstances that changed. And he still pretty much hates everybody around him and he lives for his ambition. And let's talk about his ambition, he wants to be the master of the dark arts, right? A position that he would basically be terrible at because he's a shitty teacher. I mean, he's not just bad at his job, he is terrifyingly bad. Like Neville, his Bogart looks like Snape. Can you imagine the levels of abuse that he must have put that little boy through? And you can't imagine that he was the first little boy that he did that to. We won't even touch about his favoritism about the Slytherins because fine, all right, the Slytherins never get an advantage, everything goes to the Gryffindors, fine, he's just trying to redress the balance. But he's also really mean to people who try and be good at his subject. Can you imagine being a teacher and you have a student who wants to learn and who wants to do a good job and is putting in 150% when the rest of the class is basically trying to just keep their heads above water, and your instinct is not, oh my God, you are special. I am so happy to find somebody who shares my passion for this particular subject. But instead, he's just like, haha, you're such a nerd. I mean, that's a horrible thing for a human being, but for a teacher, the worst. This is the guy that Harry named his kid after. I mean, we should have known that J.K. Rowling was suspect the moment she made that decision. The issue of Snape also goes back to a idea or a theory that I have, which is that a lot of the literary characters who are problematic yet beloved are beloved not because of how they are presented on paper, but because of the actors who played them on film. So with Snape, a lot of people have really fond memories of him or feel kindly towards him because of their feelings for Alan Rickman. If he had been played by a lesser actor in the films, I honestly don't think that we would have been able to retcon a lot of the things that Snape does and present them as admirable or understandable or excusable. My personal feeling is that you don't want to forgive Snape, you want to forgive Alan Rickman, which is fine by me. I mean, Alan Rickman can do no wrong in my book. I'll always miss him. But Snape, I don't care for him at all. For more videos, please hit the subscribe button.